All right, victory, part 3. Victory over worry and anxiety. Wow, I'm thankful for this one because I've got some worry, I've got some anxiety.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a battle for me. Great passage, Philippians 4, 6 through 7. And I encourage you to read that. How Paul recommends we deal with worry.
Yeah. He gives us a pretty simple formula. It's a simple formula, yet very difficult to carry out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he just basically says, if you want to worry less, pray more.
Right. And I think for me, what helps me with this concept that we can experience his peace. It says his peace will guard your hearts and minds. And sometimes I'm expecting that to just be a feeling of peace that I have, and yet that feeling doesn't come. But if I allow myself to just think about the fact that I have peace with God, a lot of anxiety and worry can come from feeling like we're at war with God. Yeah. God's out to get us. God's going to let bad things happen to us. But his peace will guard our hearts and minds. So we're not at war with God.
Yeah.
And that can just help me think through that and go, all right, I don't feel at peace. I feel anxious, but you know what? I'm not at war with God. God's not at war with me. He loves me. He has my best interest in mind.
Yep.
So read through Philippians 4, 6 through 7. It's a great passage. And then we get to point number 1, refuse to worry about anything. 2 great verses there. Jesus says, don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring its own worries. Today's trouble is enough for today. And then we have 1 Peter 5, 7. Give all your worries and cares to God, for he cares about you. So there's this this idea of let's choose not to worry.
Conscious effort, conscious choice. And the tough thing also is that when we give them to him, to leave them there, our tendency is oftentimes that we pick them back up and begin to worry. But what Matthew is telling us here is give them to God and leave them there and allow him to work them out in his timing and his plan and in his will.
And I think there's a humility required of us. Sometimes, well, I can solve it, or, I've got this, or meanwhile, we're super worried.
Right.
If we'll just humble ourselves and let God handle it and let others help us, it'll relieve some stress in our problems.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And I love that the second step there is pray about everything. 1 Thessalonians 5:17 says, never stop praying. Like I recently had a situation where something happened, and both my wife and I, we went to bed on a Sunday night. Neither of us slept because we were totally worried about everything. And I had read Philippians 4:6 earlier that week. And when I woke up Monday morning, I made every hour of the day today, I'm going to pray about this. Yeah. I prayed and I gave it to God. And then the outcome, it worked out in our favor. And it was the outcome was only something that God could have done.
Yeah.
It was clearly, and it was one of those that had I chose to worry about it and never take it to him, who knows what that outcome would have been.
Wow. That's awesome. And this is kind of a weird take on this, but sometimes I'll sort of stop praying all the time and just realize, you know what, a few days have gone by and I really haven't had good quality prayer time. And those are usually the times at night where I wake up worried about something. And it's almost God waking me up saying, hey, we haven't talked in a while. This is time to have a conversation at 2 a.m. So being in constant conversation with God, to me, helps prevent worry. But anxiety can also help drive us to God.
Yeah, at times.
You're
right.
So
that reminder that we are in need of him in our life.
Yeah, so refuse to worry. Make that choice. Pray about everything. Pray all the time. And then thank God in all things. Wow, there's power in thankfulness. 1 Thessalonians 5:18, be thankful in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you who belong to Christ Jesus.
Yeah, and the thought of being thankful in some situations when we're going through really tough, really hard things, but it kind of goes back to what you were talking about earlier. It says right there that we belong to Christ Jesus. No matter what situation we are in, we can be thankful because God is on our side.
Yeah.
And he is always, even though it's horrible, it's awful, he's there walking with it through us. And because we have him, we can have that peace because we know we have someone that we can turn to.
Yep, that's right. And, there's always something to be thankful for, even in the midst of a stressful situation. And counting our blessings is productive.
Productive, yes.
So thank God in all things. And then number 4, think about good things. I like this point. Philippians 4:8. And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise.
Yeah. Yeah, you think about it. As you begin to worry and become anxious, you begin to think about the worst possible thing that could happen.
Yep.
And that only just makes you more anxious and makes the situation much worse. But if you do what Philippians tells us and fix your mind on good things, it can help relieve that anxiety and bring you that peace that we are seeking in that moment.
Yeah, it's so true. And when we fill our minds with negative things, like even, I don't know, a TV show or something we're reading that's disturbing, I'll have that happen sometimes before bed, or maybe Cindy will be like, hey, did you hear about this horrible thing? I'll be like, wait, I cannot hear about this now, because I can't go to sleep on some weird, disturbing thing, Right. And it makes me feel anxious. Yeah. So, this is a great challenge from Paul here. Yep. Fill your brain with good things.
Good things.
And then what a great final point, be content with anything. And by the way, 3 verses from Philippians on the outline. This one's Philippians 4:11 through 13. Guy talking about having peace, a guy talking about not worrying, about thinking about good things, about being content. And he's writing all this from prison. Mm-hmm. The Apostle Paul sitting in a prison, his freedom taken away, his life on the line. He's like, be content with anything. And he writes, for I have learned how to be content with whatever I have. I know how to live on almost nothing or with everything. I have learned the secret of living in every situation, whether it is with a full stomach or empty, with plenty or little. For I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength.
That verse right there is so anti-cultural right now.
Yes.
I mean, we're not supposed to be content with the little that we have. Mm-hmm. We're supposed to strive for more. But how much more stress and anxiety do we put on ourselves because of the desire for more?
Yes. That's such a great point. And that's a lesson I have to learn over and over again. It may even be a good thing that I want to happen. Maybe something good for my kids or for a friend or my wife. Man, I want this to happen, and I'm getting anxious that it's not happening. And I have to learn over and over, you know what? Let that go. Mm-hmm. Be content whether it happens or not, and trust God. Right. And when I do that, I do feel more peaceful and less anxious.
Absolutely.
So, great stuff. And maybe a practical thing you can do today. You may be really super worried or anxious about something, or many things that are, nagging at you and taking away sleep and causing maybe even some health issues. What if the challenge today is to make a list of those things, just literally write them down, and then do step 2, pray about everything. Do step 1, refuse to worry about those things, maybe even symbolically taking that list and setting it on fire, Write it on a piece of paper, not on your iPad. And choose to do these things with that list of worries.